we're just gonna do it very briefly. I said 1,400 years ago, I want just the people to take themselves and put themselves in a time machine and go back. Let's accept history for the sake of argument, because Arab doesn't accept it. But let's, for the sake of argument, accept that our account of history is true. That, okay, we didn't have telephones, microscopes, we didn't have airplanes, we had nothing. And put yourself in that time. Now, we have a man 1,400 years ago. That man claimed to have an encounter with an angel. This was the first encounter, then multiple other encounters. And people saw that man performing miraculous acts. But I'm not going to tell you that he was a prophet because people saw him do it, because you can't. But what he did is he brought a revelation that he said, this is a revelation coming from the Creator, coming from God. That revelation did a few things. I'm just going to go through them very quickly. That revelation, the Quran and Hadith, had multiple prophecies of the future. None of them are false. Many prophecies of the future. They're exactly detailed. Some of them are time-bound. Some of them are individual-bound. They exactly happened the way the Prophet said them. In his life, right after his death, hundreds of years after, and even today, they're happening 1,400 years later. None of them are false, and we can establish that they were before the events taking place. That man produced a scripture, the Quran, which has information about this natural world, cosmology, biology, hydrology, everything you can think about. Things that we today are discovering to be true. We're catching up with the knowledge in the Quran through the technology that I'm referring to right now. Through that knowledge in the Quran that existed 1,400 years ago from that man. That man had information about history that nobody could have access. They're not existent in previous scriptures. You couldn't access them because, for instance, the language was dead, like hieroglyphics. Only 200 years ago, we found the Rosetta Stone. Then we were able to read hieroglyphics and understand what those Egyptians used to believe. But it wasn't there at that time. Telling you information about ancient Mesopotamia that was in temples that was buried under the sand. Sumerian language was dead. But the Quran tells you this information. And today, we discover the temples. We discover artifacts. And these things confirm the knowledge in the Quran 1,400 years ago. The Quran produces a scripture that cannot be imitated in the Arabic language. And you're an Arab, so you know what I'm talking about. The Quran is the highest literary form in the Arabic language, cannot be imitated, has its own genre. And the Quran makes a challenge to just bring one chapter like it, which is one line. Nobody was able to do this until today, 1,400 years, and we can see the criteria, and nobody's able to follow this criteria. And that man lived the most righteous life through teaching people morality about God and everything in this life. How to eat, how to drink, how to sleep. Things that we see today that it cannot come from this human being 1,400 years ago. Now, when we look at everything together and we combine these things, then the question always remains. It's a very simple question. Could it be possible that he was able to do all of this and at the same time he wasn't a true messenger of God? And you only have one of two answers, either yes or no. And that is why we say Islam is the truth. Now, this argument I made, yeah, of course.
We couldn't have done all that without being the true messenger of God.
Okay.
What I'm telling
we are in agreement that
what I'm telling you is that he's not the last true messenger of God. I'm telling you, there's true messengers of God in front of you all the time. From the random person you speak on the street, from the blah, 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 from the blah, blah, blah to every interaction you have. But you have to actually perceive these interactions as miracles. And when you do, these interactions will start guiding you. You'll see them outwardly. You look inwardly and you'll see them outwardly. That's how it works. I'm telling you, all you have to do is breathe. I agree with you completely. Your account of the Islamic scripture is completely correct, but your issue is that you still believe it's the singular truth because it's true. But it being true does not define it as the singular truth. There can still be many other ways to define it.
Okay,
but
so I'll take that as
it only comes in Arabic.
No, I'll take that as it doesn't come only in Arabic, and the proof is that 80% plus of Muslims are non-Arabs. Anyone can understand the guidance of God through a translation of the book. But I'm gonna say this as my closing statement. I'll take this as your closing statement, and I'll say this as the closing statement because we've already been past an hour talking. So this is what I'm gonna say, Arab. You have said that, okay, this is the truth because these things cannot come except if this person is the messenger of God. So we both agree on this. Now, here's where you go wrong, which is just, like I said, common sense. And common sense is common within people. That's why I always appeal to common sense. You say, yes, Prophet Muhammad is the true messenger of God.
Where's common sense?
That same Prophet Muhammad, I'm coming to it right now. I'm going to say it. So, the Prophet Muhammad was a true messenger of God. What you're missing is that you're saying he was a true messenger of God, but when he said he was the last messenger, he wasn't the last messenger. And this is where all what you said just falls apart. It's either he was a true messenger of God, and when God himself literally verbatim told us that he was the last and final messenger, and this is the last and final message. Either that was the truth, like you said it is, or it is false. But what you've done is you accepted a contradiction, Arab. You said, and you cannot say anything, Arab. Sorry, that's the closing statement. So you said, I accept that that's the truth. And at the same time, you say, I accept it's the truth, but at the same time, what it says is not right. So that's a contradiction, Arab. I'm sorry to say. It's a contradiction.
Remember, lantern, that the flame of your lantern is...
I remember to breathe.
Inside the lantern.
Not to think, and to follow blind faith.
It's in your name.
Breathe, not think, and follow blind faith. Do you agree that that's the conclusion? Breathe, don't think, and follow blind faith.
Yes.
That's your methodology.
Yes.
Okay, my methodology, revelation coming from the God all-knowing, all-seeing, with evidence that cannot be argued against, his messenger and his prophet came from him, and this is the guidance for this life, which is a test, and the afterlife will be the accountability for how we live this life. This is my conclusion, and people can compare the two.
Just remember, as long as you choose to deny it, it will still stand true that the flame of the lantern is inside the lantern. It's
sure, but the one who puts it inside is God through his revelation and guidance.
I agree with you, and it'll follow you forever, but you must choose to listen to God.
All right, Arab. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Cheers,
I mean, we have these heated discussions, but I like having discussions with you.
It's a pleasure always, genuinely.
And I appreciate the discussion. I hope I didn't say anything offensive.
No, you didn't. Don't worry.
We're just having a nice chat. All right, Nico, unless you need anything else from me.
I think the work you do is great.
I'll let you guys continue the stream. Sorry?
Cheers. I think the work you do is great.
I appreciate that. And I ask God to guide you and me and all of us, everyone, to the truth. All right, Nico, we'll talk another time. All right, bye-bye. See you.
No worries, man. See you.